I'm here on Nelson Street where 3-year-old Randall Jones was tragically shot and killed. Today, lawmakers and community leaders are demanding for action and for money to support programs that help people to prevent future violence, like what happened here.
I know my colleagues are committed to it. I'm not going to walk away and say I didn't get anything done in this session, with this governor, with this budget. That doesn't make a difference to all of us.
The press conference being arranged by State Senator Marilyn Moore to address the gun violence in communities and request funds for the organizations that work to stop it.
We know that President Biden has put aside $5 million for youth gun violence prevention programs. We want to make sure where that money comes here, it's not nickeled and dimed. It's not a little bit here and a little bit there, but there's a master plan on how you address that.
State senators and community organizations want Governor Lamont to increase funding statewide for violence prevention programs. This follows the shooting of 3 people this past week, resulting in the death of 2 young people, including 3-year-old Randall Jones and 16-year-old Jamari Preston. Today, leaders speak on what they are seeing in their own communities and how their programs are creating change.
Some kids told me that they couldn't even sit down to do their homework in front of their desk because the minute they picked up the cell phone to go answer it, a bullet flew through the window where she had been sitting.
Jacqueline Santiago, Chief Executive Officer of Compass Youth, says heroic people in her organization interrupt violence and look for kids lost to poverty.
They go into the hospitals to comfort, to prevent retaliation from happening on a regular basis on a shoestring budget.
Leaders say it's important to identify children in violent situations at a young age in order to help them.
When they're 9, 10 years old, when they're in our school system, we know who these kids are. They're not hard to identify.
Law enforcement says in fall 2020, there was a 54% increase in shooting incidents in Hartford from the same time in 2019. Leaders say it's also reflected in Bridgeport and New Haven with the increase of violence and shootings.
I have a 3-year-old grandchild, just as Senator Winfield has 3-year-old twin children. We were all cut to the heart by what we heard in Hartford this last week, but that is just the newest example of the heart-wrenching and heart-crushing things that happen in the state and in our cities every single day.
The community is asking for money to make a change, and senators are hoping to push the effort through before June. Reporting live in Hartford, Shara Taylor, Fox 61 News.